Perfect.
Whether you're standing in line for coffee, or you're at demo day, or attending a virtual networking event and you're asked to quickly share your value prop on the screen, founders, you need to be quick pitch ready. And our guest is a corporate storyteller and pitch alchemist, and she knows how to powerfully convey your message so you give investors exactly what they need to hear and to help you land that coveted meeting. I can just feel the delicious outcome for you after hearing our guest's incredible advice today. Stay tuned for the Startup Life live show. Let's glow. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Startup Life Live Show. I'm your host, Ande Lyons, 4 times founder and startup champion to founders around the world. And after raising 4 businesses of my own, I now share founder startup stories to help newly minted business owners find the solutions and inspiration they need to succeed. And I am thanking you, founder, for carving out time to up your founder game while cheering on a fellow founder. You never know, you might hear something that goes, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I needed to hear, or a solution, or just something that's just going to trigger all sorts of delicious problem solving inspiration for you and your business. And if you're joining us live or via replay, be sure to say hello in the comments, ask any questions, and just share what's going on with you. And remember, I always love to promote you and your business. So, excuse me, be sure to pop any information about your business into the comment threads as well. And thank you for sharing your love on this video. Excuse me for 1 second. Allergies. And thank you for sharing your love on this video wherever you are watching. If you're tuning in from YouTube, please share your subscribe love and click on the bell icon for alerts. Thank you so much. You see, by sharing your love, we're live right now on LinkedIn, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And when you click on that love, it goes out into your stream, and other founders will hear or see this in their thread. And you have no idea, it might help somebody maximize the joy and minimize the heartache in their founder journey. And how do you know whenever I post a new show in the Startup Life Live show? Well, you come on over and join us at the Startup Life Live meetup group. You can scan that QR code, or you can hit that link, bit.ly/Startup Life Live, and I'll have that link in the show notes as well to join the group. And that way you get alerted whenever I have a really cool new founder coming on and sharing their founder stories, like the one we have today. And if you resonate with the show's mission of amplifying diverse founder voices while serving first-time founders around the world, please reach out to me to learn more about how you can make a greater impact on the startup ecosystem through sponsoring the Startup Life Live show. Ande at AndeLyons.com is how you reach me. So I'm so excited to share with you our guest today. It's Donna Griffit, and I'm going to just pop up a wonderful image for you to look at while I read her incredible background. She's a corporate storyteller who has worked globally for over 17 years with Fortune 500 companies, startups, and investors in a wide variety of industries. And Donna has this unique ability to magically spin raw data into compelling stories that captivate audiences and drive results. She's consulted and trained clients in over 30 countries, helping them create, edit, and deliver verbal and written presentations, pitches, and messages. And I got to tell you, this is what we really love about Donna. Are you ready? Through her guidance, clients have raised over $1 billion, and she has an impressive track record helping female founders secure funding. Oh my gosh, what's not to love about this guest? Let's bring her into the room. Hey, Donna, so happy to see you.
After that energy one morning. Thank you,
Like,
Ande.
totally celebrating.
Moroccoed in, right?
Right. between the opening music and this, we get our vibration lifted and we get to celebrate you and all the remarkable work you're doing in the world. And I am just a huge fan because how you help founders is significant. Landing that coveted meeting, getting that message out to folks is so important. And you have years of experience doing this and a track record for it. And I really appreciate the work and effort you've put into your work and your business and helping founders. So thank you.
I'm just lucky to do what I love and what I'm good at and be able to help these brilliant, and somebody once called me a polisher of diamonds. So I really see it that way. I meet new raw diamonds every day and, take away all bring the luster out.
Well, yeah, Donna, this is many a founder is launching as a founder their first time. They're moving out of being an employee, but even those who have experience, each business is different and you have different messaging for each business and it needs a pro. Founders, don't try to do this alone. Seriously. And we're going to go deep, of course, into all the deliciousness that you're going to need to have a great quick pitch. But it's so important that you get the professional help you need. Don't do this at home alone.
How many iterations of your pitch decks did you have when getting funding for your business? I'm curious.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, for my .com, now folks, I'm dating myself. This was 1998. We used binders. Okay. So it was a whole different world when you went to pitch and you had, long investor meetings. But of course, in 1998, money was flowing. So, we didn't have that calculated, when for my food manufacturing business, Donna, it was a conversation. I met this guy, was introduced to him. I went in, did a quick pitch and boom, secured the bag.
Well, that was easy today, right?
Pardon me?
If only it was so easy today. Just go in, go out, you have a check. Yay.
Well, who we had on for the 100th episode celebration was Jenny Lefcourt. And she had a very successful .com business that she sold for $1 bajillion. She had come out of Stanford in 97 and raised money beautifully for all of her businesses, Donna. And when she started, women started coming to her in 2012, 2015, 2017 and saying, it's really hard out there. And she's like, what do you mean? It was so easy for me to raise money. And the women are like, no, we got a bro culture happening. And it's a whole different ball game. So I'm excited to dive in and learn out how you are, helping the female founders get the money and the funding they need, because it's one thing to launch a business, but if you need to feed that business, it's going to need oxygen and food in the source of capital. So I want to remind everybody, just a quick, some notes here for everybody. Amplify your brand, share your business name, one-liner and website URL in the comments, and we will showcase and celebrate you and your wonderful work live during the show. And also, do not hesitate to pop in questions in the comment threads, because we're going to learn from you. And you never know who's going to watch this later and learn from your wonderful question. And more importantly, we're here to help you have an ideal outcome with your quick pitches. All right. But before we dive in, I always like to get into a little background with my guests, as you know. So, you have been an entrepreneur for a while. What called you to launch your first business, Donna, and actually put a shingle out and say, I'm off payroll, folks?
Well, my first business I launched when I was 7. I identified a need, a problem. There were not enough birthday entertainers for young kids. And my pilot, my beta version of being a clown entertainer for kids' birthdays was my sister's 4-year-old birthday, where I just, kind of pulled something out of the closet, put hearts on my cheeks. I was Hearts the Clown. And then I decided to scale, and I got a VC investment of $50. My mom, and we had a whole contract set out. So I would, she got a real return on her investment, and I bought, clown makeup and everything, and printed out flyers, put them at the schools, and I reached cash flow positive quite fast. But my VC, I hadn't taken on a good lawyer for the contract, so she kept getting dividends for the rest of her life. But that's okay, it's motherly pride. And now, as the mom of girls,
Oh my gosh, Donna! See, everybody, do you see what a storyteller she is?
Well, but here's the thing. I have never, unless you count waitressing or the 4 months I did at my college's employment agency, I have never held an actual job. I've always had my own businesses. Whether it was, I was off doing contracting work, doing simultaneous translations, and I was acting, and I was this, and I was that. But I've really never had a 9-to-5 job.
Wow.
I guess it's a 24/7 job, but I've always worked for myself. And this particular position, it's been 17 years since I've had my own subcontracting and consulting business on presentations, storytelling, writing.
Sure. Oh my gosh, Donna, I got to tell you, was that like done in your family? Did you have all these examples growing up, or you were just like, I'm doing this on my own?
I'm trying to think back where this drive came from, and it's something internal. I have a mother who always said, find what you love, do what you love. I'll support you completely. She never said like, oh no, go be a lawyer, go be a doctor.
Thank you, Mom.
Thank you, Mom. My father was a salesman, and that's very much entrenched in me. They both were very much people person.
Yay.
People, so person peoples. So the whole art of the gab is kind of entrenched in my genes. But when I was 16, my great uncle took me to meet a career counselor friend of his. And when he asked, what do you love to do? And I said, I love people and I love acting. And he's like, oh, well, there's this thing called drama therapy. And it was like, so, sometimes you hear those chorus of hallelujah, angels singing. And I'm like, what? Did somebody invent that for me? And the rest of everything I did towards the master's in drama therapy that I did at NYU was geared towards that. So it's like, I knew that that's the direction that I wanted to head in.
Excellent. And so how has drama therapy served you in the last 17 years? How have you brought that in? Because, our education and our lived experiences add every day to what we're doing.
Absolutely. So I was in New York in 2000, and it was from 2000 to 2006.
Wow.
Very interesting years. We just had 20th anniversary of 9/11.
Yes.
Down the street, literally from the tower. So it was an incredible time. So drama therapy was amazing. I did my master's degree with homeless, mentally ill men in an inpatient program at Bellevue. And that was about the time that we were also displaced for 9/11. So it was incredibly powerful. But I wanted to do drama therapy all my life, but then I put aside being an actress because I didn't want to be a starving artist and be waiting tables when I was 30. Something, again, this inner drive. I have no idea how I knew this. It's just something that's been in me ever since I can remember myself. And I said, I have to find something that I can, have you heard, Ande, of ikigai, the Japanese word?
No. How do you spell that?
Ikigai.
Okay, I'm going to look it up and put it in the show notes, everybody.
Exactly. So it's basically 4 concentric circles where it's your passion, your mission. So it's what you're good at, what you love doing, what the world needs, and what you can get paid for. And you kind of need all 4 of those to be able to.
So it's kind of like a Venn.
It's exactly a Venn. And right in the middle is your raison d'être, your reason for being, your reason for getting up in the morning. And I am so blessed to live in my ikigai. So I was looking for, so the drama therapy is great. The pay is like a starving artist. Okay, where else can I take these skills and the group leadership and the fact that I love being in front of crowds? And again, we have another angel singing moment. I was taking a post-grad course in group group dynamics, and one of the speakers said, she's this friend who travels the world and gives workshops in front of people. And again, I was like, oh, that's what I want to be when I grow up. And I started checking, and lo and behold, at NYU, there was a postmaster's program in training and organizational development. Signed up for that, sent my resume out to the first place I saw hiring corporate trainers on Craigslist, of all places, and it looked the same then as it does now. And I was hired as a contractor for Boyer Communications Group, which is a wonderful, wonderful.
That's like a real bona fide deal there that you landed right away.
Yeah, well, part of my interview was Brad Boyer, who is the owner and my spiritual father, and he taught me so much about what I know. He said, I have to see you on stage. And I just happened to be in an off-Broadway show. I was playing an Irish lass in World War II. And he came to see it. And the next day I got a call. He said, you're hired. And it's just like, you know how sometimes you have that feeling in your stomach when you're petrified?
Yes.
I came to know that that's the feeling that I'm right in the right place I need to be. When you feel that feeling of, oh my God, how am I going to do this? I'm supposed to travel all over the world giving workshops. I have to set up my own travel. I was 26, 7. I mean, it was like, oh, what?
Oh my.
And I had to open a corporation because I was hired to subcontract and deal with all these things around it. And it was totally petrifying, but I got to travel the world teaching people how to create powerful messages, deliver them, working with executives, working with salespeople, working with very technical people. And it was just a blast. And I got to go everywhere from Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania to South Africa, to Taiwan, to India. I mean, all over.
Oh my gosh, in your 20s, and it's so much responsibility preparing you for even greater work is what I believe when you get hit with all of that and you're having to step up.
Yeah.
And I love that you had such a broad range of types you had to work with. So, salespeople are already bringing a lot of empathy and a lot of jazz and juice to what they're doing, but you had to talk with the tech people as well.
The hardware. So one of my favorite things was like to walk into a workshop that I was giving for like very highly technical people, and to say to them that by the time we were finished, they would be salespeople for the organization. They did not like hearing that. But at the end of the sessions, they got what I was saying, because we all have a responsibility to sell our messages, our ideas, our thoughts, whatever product we're working on, whatever startup solution we're working on. And if we can't do that in a way that's persuasive for other people.
And folks, whether you're doing your business as a side hustle or not, this is such important information that Donna just gave us. And I'm going to just say right now, it just left me with this feeling right here. Hold on, wait for it. It's an Andelicious moment, everybody. Here's why, because even if you're the introvert and in the tech department, you have to share your innovation. You have to manage up. You have to get constituency. You have to get collaboration happening and community happening. And no matter how shy or insecure you might be feeling, getting that messaging and knowing how to say it. See, this is the key, folks. It's not rocket science. This is what Donna will teach you and teaches everyone, is the words, the vocabulary, putting it together so that it's in your voice. But gosh, Donna, having a script.
It absolutely helps. And what I do when I work with people, and I pivoted to startups, that's a whole other little story we can get into if you're interested. But
yeah, I want to know how you pivoted, because working for the people, the companies with budgets is a wonderful thing.
Yes, startups have budgets too, and they're just more careful with how they use it. But so it's about helping them. I take your words and I elevate them. I'm not putting words in your mouth. I have this filter in my brain that's backed by AI and machine learning and deep learning, and I have no idea what else goes on in there, but something happens. I swear, Ande, I finished a session working on anything from Kubernetes to biotech to a game that you dare your friends to do, and everybody kind of watch. I don't know, there's crazy, wild things out there. And I've reached the end of the 2-hour session, and I've written this script, and I know what I could present it for them, and they're sitting there like, Like, how did you do this? This is like an out of body experience. Like, so somebody said to me yesterday, because I told them that their technology is automagic. And then they said, well, your process is automagic too. I said, yeah, kind of is. I don't know. Something takes over the music.
Did you say automagic?
Automagic. It just magically happens. So yeah, it's fun, it's exciting, it's exhilarating, and it's like I'll get the deck beforehand, I'll get the pitch, and my brain just goes, "Oh my God, you can't be serious!" And then we walk out 2 hours later, and it's like somebody that goes through a big haircut. You know, you take someone that's got a beard and this,
right?
and they're all clean shaven.
It's a makeover.
Wow, what a different person! Yeah,
but I bet you hear, especially from tech founders, oh my gosh, I've been trying to figure out how to say that for years.
Yeah.
And you just nailed it for me. Yeah.
Yeah. And like yesterday, even with one of my clients, hi Claire. It's one of my clients yesterday, and they had this incredible kind of expression for what it is that they're doing, but they didn't get how brilliant it was in the play of words. And I said, do you understand what you're doing here? And suddenly they're like, oh my gosh, it's like we knew this, but we never were able to look at it that way. Sometimes you're so close to your own story, to your own thing, that you don't even realize the utter brilliance that you are bringing. And then I come in and look at it with like a bird's eye view, and I'm like, do you realize what you're doing here? Do you realize how big this is? Do you realize where you could potentially go with this? Because people are afraid sometimes to talk about their big vision because it's not where we are right now.
That's right. You're on the road to that big vision.
You have to paint that picture.
And folks tuning in now or later, oh my gosh, right? This is what you need. And sometimes, not time, always, it's great when you get an outside professional who is brilliant like Donna to come in and not only just help you, but give you that seal of approval, the Donna Griffit seal of approval, that you have some really good verbiage here, that you have some great sound bites. We just need to pull it all together in the right story, in the right unfolding, in the right framework. I'm just going to say hello to some of our viewers here. Hey, Janetta Bai, how are you? I'm so excited that you're here. Don't forget to put your business name and URL into the comment threads with a little one-liner so that we can say yoo-hoo and can celebrate your work. And hey, Claire, how you doing? I'm so glad she's saying Donna is amazing, everyone. And I agree 100% with you, Claire. And hey, Ruby Sunshine, the financial joyful school goddess. How are you? I'm so happy you're tuning in. And yes, you know all about how important it is to have the right message to convey what you're doing, whether it's a pitch deck, everybody, or just how you are in conveying your services in social media and other locations. And hello, our EVOO goddess, Laura Qureshi. How you doing? How's Zaze? So happy to see you here. And she's saying hi from Boston. Excited to hear and learn, Laura. Absolutely. And that's right, Ruby. You've got it down. We are celebrating Ruby's Financial Joy School right here. Yay! Ruby is helping Black families really nail their financial literacy and build generational wealth through that. So it's great. And
Ruby, come join. We have a wonderful community that I started with several friends / colleagues called Women Founders Unite. And it's on Facebook, and it's an incredibly diverse, supportive community. And that's exactly what we're there to empower women to make a difference in other
Donna,
lives.
Yeah, I'm going to get that URL and put that into the show notes. That is so important that we continue to empower. You've seen the hashtag women empowerment, female empowerment, women empowering women. It's so important. And, you know, this is what I love about Laura. She knows the drill here. She's putting it up. ZAAZEY.com. Early harvest, cold pressed extra virgin olive oil. Mission has created sustainable jobs with higher paying wages for women around the world. Our pickers, rakers, packers are mostly moms that need an opportunity to have their voices heard. Okay, so what she's saying is, you know, female farmers, all right, that's where she is getting her olive oil. So it's so incredible. And yay, Ruby. She goes, I'm going to go join now.
We'll see you there, Ruby.
We love that. Yeah. And don't worry, Laura, I will get that URL too. And Ruby, if you have it, pop it into the show notes. Okay. And we can pop it up here as well for everyone to see while we're live. All right, Donna. This is amazing. Now, you know, I have to talk about this every show because it's something I want to continue and always be drilling into my founders, because your value prop is a hypothesis until you prove it again and again. And it's constantly being reiterated along the way. You had this shift from going, bringing incredible value to corporate America and really honing your skills and traveling around the world. So exciting. But then you decided to have another value prop. You decided to go after a different customer segment. You had to figure out what was the distribution channel you were going to use to get there and how you were going to reach those folks. So please talk about that.
So I was traveling, workshops, one-on-one, everything was great. And then came 2008. Bit of deja vu for the past year and a half now.
Yes.
Way, but very similar. And everything just kind of shut down. The first thing that enterprise shuts off is anything non-essential travel, non-essential training, which both kind of is where we fit in. And it was just suddenly like calendar clear. And it's like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? I haven't had a 9-to-5 job. I've never worked for, what do I go get a job? What now? I started, I studied coaching and NLP, not the technical NLP, the other, the neuro-linguistic programming. And I was working with people on that. And then one of my mentors there introduced me to a client of his who needed work on his professional speeches. And he was a cardiothoracic surgeon, brilliant guy, put him in front of 3 people to operate on a day. He could save him, put him in front of a PowerPoint. He needed saving. So I worked with him on his professional speeches. And he said, do you do startup decks as well? I have 2 medical devices that I've invented, and I'm invited to this angel conference in New York to give 2 5-minute pitches, and I don't know where to start. And I thought, well, and then here we go, pivotal moment. Oh, I was like, well, I've never worked on a startup pitch, but a story is a story. I'll give it a crack. So I created 2 beautiful 5-minute pitches, told a story. I even took my hand at designing visually. That's not my forte, but I it was good enough for back in 2008. And then we actually traveled, and I presented on his behalf. That doesn't happen usually, but he was a high enough, caliber.
Sometimes CMOs within the organization will present the founding
founders. I
founders.
was like a contingency member of the team. And then the other startups that had been invited to this conference got up to speak, and my heart just broke for them because the first 17 seconds they were just shot down. I was like, well, why would they come to an opportunity with 80-something angels sitting in a room and not have taken someone like me to help them prepare the pitch?
That's right.
And it was like, okay. I started exploring, and I said, well, I don't see anyone out there doing this with startups. And I was like, okay, here's my new audience. I'm going to be working with startups and their pitches. And then come the voices, the voices of concern. Startups don't have money. They're not going to pay you. Startups don't think they need you. The voices of concern that I suggest that you all say thank you for your concern and then move on and do what you feel is right.
Definitely going to second that. Everybody take that in. Go ahead.
So, and then it was like, okay, how am I going to get these startups? So I started doing what I call sponsorship as a service, SPAS. And I started offering accelerators and pitch competitions. And remember, this was still like 2008.
This is brilliant.
Early days is that like the next surge, post.com bomb of startups. And I said, listen, let me prepare the startups that are going to be pitching in their quick pitch, in their 5-minute pitch. In return, don't pay me, put my logo as a sponsor and mention my name at the pitch event. So people start to hear, who this Donna is. And it worked. First of all, the pitches were great, if I do say so myself. And then people are like, who's this Donna person that's making these startups or these pitches good? And little by little, I started getting people interested, and fast forward to today, and my schedule is booked out to the 2nd week of November. So
nice.
Away. So I'm extraordinarily blessed. A lot of it's word of mouth. People are happy. They talk. People are unhappy. They talk too. But so you want to keep them happy.
Yeah. But also I want anybody who's in a service industry to take this in and really understand, part of getting the word out is doing something like in-kind services, sponsoring events locally, nationally. Even though a lot of things have been on a virtual level, there's still so much opportunity to serve and then get your word out at the same time. And you will have an abundance of responses from that. You'd be surprised at what a lift you can get from doing that. I love that, Donna.
One of the things about the Ikigai, it's also, it's the thing that if secretly you would do if they weren't paying you because you just love doing it so much. It's like being in that zone and that the flow, like Csikszentmihalyi talks about, and you see it in the movie Soul recently. I watched it with my girls, and it's so true because I love it. So the reward is intrinsic, and even if I hadn't gotten business out of these events, I just was so happy doing it. You have to be in that state of mind. You
That's
can't
right.
expect like the money to come rolling in afterwards. You're planting seeds, and I still see, like, I'll get emails from people that like, oh, I saw a speech of yours like 8 years ago and I kept your card and I knew there would be a time where I'd reach out, which is
Right.
incredibly flattering and exciting. And then also I'll have clients that return with their next company,
Oh,
and
sure.
it's really just, it's great.
It's
Sorry.
Well, no, just gonna say, anytime you need to really be out there and presenting and bringing your best forward, it's just like learning how to talk to the camera. It's like learning, your own hair and makeup. It's like learning, some of the other skill sets. It's so important that you refine and you get the pros in for
Mhm.
that. And someone like you, I just love that. And I just love how you pivoted and exhibited that wonderful founder brilliance. Folks, you're a founder because you love to solve problems. And so the most important thing to remember is that about yourself, right, Donna? That even when things come to a screeching halt and you hear crickets like Donna did in 2008, well, what else is on the horizon? How else can you be in
You got
that
it.
word that I can't pronounce, your true purpose?
Yeah. Ikigai. So
Ikigai.
then here we are again, fast forward March 2020, similar feeling,
Yes.
and I could see the world shutting down again, and I'm like, oh, been here, done that. What did I learn last time around? And I pulled out my 2008 playbook, dusted off the cobwebs, and the two things that really stood out for me was, one, if you can bring true value to your audience that really needs your solution, you will always have work. And two, again, come back to that place of being in service, giving away knowledge, giving away information, because it gives you visibility. So I started partnering with all kinds of organizations that work with startups and doing webinars, helping them for raising funding in uncertain times, and
Yeah.
pivoting your story along with your technology. Technologies had to pivot overnight
Oh my
and see
gosh.
where they were relevant. I started writing content. I started getting things out there. I started approaching corporate again because I said, people are going to be working from home. They don't know how to present in a good day
Right.
on Zoom. And I just, I reworked a workshop that I had taught in 2003, 2004 on remote meetings before we even had video. It was just audio back then, and brought in the whole Zoom aspect. And within 3 months of, a real slowdown, which is alarming. And my husband has a startup, so we're two
Oh, trust me.
responsible adult at home.
Gig workers, so to speak.
So yeah, and it's scary, but if you keep the faith, keep the focus, and bring true value, you will always work. And my business now is better than it
Yeah.
was before COVID started.
Oh, Donna, that makes my heart sing with joy. Hooray for you. Hooray. That is so good. Thank you, Ruby, for grabbing the Facebook group URL. You're amazing. Facebook.com/groups/women founders unite. I will have that in the threads. You're the best. And Lauren is saying, Donna, brilliant ideas. Love how you were willing to help the small businesses while thinking outside of the box. We learn from our experiences, giving away information, knowledge, and story. Awesome stuff, Donna. Thank you, Laura, for that. It's so good. So let's dive in to your advice, tips for creating a quick and powerful startup pitch. And as many folks know, I co-host a startup pitch event here in Boston. I've been doing it for 3 years, where our founders only have 99 seconds to share their value prop. So that's like 4 slides. And then, of course, They have 3 to 4 minutes with the audience, so you get lots of more questions and you can dive in more into your business and present more. And then they get an additional 2 minutes with our expert panelists who happen to be investors. So, it's really not a 99-second pitch when you add all those other minutes in, but still, it's a lot to get honed into just a short period of time. First, I want to know, how do you work with founders? Like, what's the onboarding process? How does that work?
So it's quick, efficient. It's a whirlwind, in and out and on with life. I know that for a founder, your time is your most precious commodity. And the time that people spend working and reworking the deck is taking them away from growing their company, from meeting clients, from enhancing their product, from whatever it is that they do. And it's not a core competency for everyone. And even I've had founders that were former marketers, and they'll call me up embarrassed, like, I used to do this for my own clients, and now I'm just stuck. And it's okay. And it's because again, when I have to write about myself, I wish I had me that I could kind of pull out and tell me what to write. It's really, really hard. So we schedule if they have a regular investor pitch, it's a 2-hour session. They get prep work from me that if you take a look at my website under donnagriffit.com under resources, I have several guides. So one is like the ultimate cheat sheet for the investor deck. There's an ultimate cheat sheet for the sales deck, ultimate cheat sheet for the competition deck. So for the quick pitch, for like the 5-minute opportunity, and then a bunch of other goodies there that you all are welcome to. It's like, I feel like sometimes like I was a chef with a Michelin star restaurant. No, but I actually published my recipes in my cookbook, and people are like, why are you giving that away? And I said, listen, some people are going to cook it at home and just be thrilled and be so excited and it tastes great. Some people are going to be like, I want to come to that restaurant and have her cook it for me. And that happens more often than not, that people have read this and they're like, okay, now I want to work with you because you can.
Right.
So I wrote it as the recipe, and I wrote it as guidelines for my clients. So they get that. They prep the deck. I will not take the meeting if you didn't do the prep work in the right way, because I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to spend our 2 hours together looking for stats and figures and numbers and sifting through mountains of data. Not my jam, not the way it works. And then 2 hours, I ask them questions, they answer, goes through the magic filter, the automagic filter, and out comes the story. And in real time, I start writing it for them, moving slides around, scripting out their speaker's notes, writing visual notes for the designer. I am not a designer. I know what I'd like to see. And I work with brilliant designers that it's almost like they can see inside my head and be like, okay, that's what she means. And that's it. 2 hours go by in a flash. We go back and forth. They make corrections. I ask them, is this right? And then they see the screen the whole time. And then bada bang, we emerge 2 hours.
Boom, guys. 2 hours. You know that you're on YouTube trying to watch other people's pitches and figure things out over a 2 to 3, 4, 5, 6 hour period everywhere you're going, and you're still struggling, and you're not coming out with the kind of traction or connections you need. Oh my gosh, Donna. So when, you make it very easy for the founders. And remember, founders, this is an investment in you. Your business will succeed when you succeed. Okay. So you have to continually up your game so that your business can improve and get better as well. And, there's no school for founderhood or the founder journey. It's just not out there. It's you being willing to step out there. Donna, same thing. She had to go through a lot when she was figuring things out along the way, and hiccups will happen. Life events happen. Outside circumstances will happen. And you need to constantly be changing your story and working and enhancing what you do. And what I love about this, Donna, is that you not only make it easy for the founder, but you really understand that the founder's time is so precious. And can you imagine founders just having the relief of not having to worry about whether or not your pitch is okay?
Second guessing that it's like that sense of, I want them to walk away with this sense of like relief, like, yes, we can stop going around in circles with it. We've nailed it.
That's right. Now, my other question is, I would always see, at our pitch event, the founders falling down with the first slide. because a lot of times, they go right into their story and everybody loves their story, but then it's like, well, what's this business? What's important to you with that first slide, Donna, and how do you work with folks with that opening?
Okay, so in a 99-second pitch, it's a totally different story.
Right, but no, traditional, you have your 5-minute
Let's
pitch.
talk about like the investor pitch for a minute.
Yes.
Let's talk about storytelling.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, storytelling is a big buzzword. Everybody says storytelling is so important and but really, do they know what storytelling is? So there's a few different facets to storytelling. One is the structure, the framework. So stories have been around pre-language. We started seeing cave paintings 52,000 years ago, which is about the same time that we got a new part of our brain, the prefrontal cortex, which is in charge of visual expression, visual recognition. So we were able to start expressing ourselves. People told stories around the campfire and passed on information that was memorable for generations. So looking back at Greek tragedy, Shakespeare, Molière, Chekhov, they wrote in acts, 4-act play. And even today in movies, you don't feel the acts as much, but there's certain structures there's about 8 movie scripts that get written again and again and again. Yet we go see the movies because it looks different. There's twists, there's characters, but the structure is there. We kind of know what's going to happen. You have that. So you could just sit back and enjoy it. So I'm looking out my window now. There's 4 houses across the street from me, and they all look different, but they all have something in common. They all have a frame and a foundation. It's not like I look back past and say, wow, they have a really nice frame. I can't see the frame. I can see the window dressings in the garden and the patio and the paint on it. But if the frame wasn't there, it would all fall down. So first of all, you need a story frame for your pitch. Okay. And it could be a sales pitch, an investor pitch, whatever. And it's chunked into 4 acts. And it's basically the typical hero's journey. So the problem or the need, what is it that or the opportunity. It doesn't have to be something serious that you're solving. It could be a new, amazing thing you're bringing into people's lives. And the best way to tell that is through a story. Ask me what the best first piece of it is. It's to, first of all, you want to talk about your big vision. We'll get to that in a second. I'll bring you back to that because that's an important one. But your story, your origin story, your founder story. How did you encounter this as a problem in your life and someone you love? Like, I'm working with a client called Cure Life, and he's created this incredible platform for diabetes management and also supplements that take blood sugar down and minimize the need for insulin. And his father was diagnosed in his 50s with diabetes. And he saw this man who loved life and loved eating suddenly have to give up the things and kind of started fading. And he said, I am going to find something to help my father. And he did. And so we're working on their Series B deck. We worked on their Series A deck. And it's just incredible to me, the drive. So find your passion story. It could be yours. It could be your partner's. It could be something that you identified in the world at large. And you said, I have a skill set, I have knowledge, and I have a drive that I want to tackle this.
That's right. And you founders, of course, I have to admit, Laura, Donna, all my businesses came to me as a stray cat at the door yowling until I let them in. It was never my intention to launch and especially a food business with a shelf life. What was I thinking? I had no idea, but they came in the form of a passion, a calling, so to speak. So you may have a problem that you were personally involved with, right, Donna? But sometimes it can also be something that you just like, I got to go and add value in this particular way to the world. Yeah.
And again, we sometimes have to pivot that. And I saw a lot of startups that were dealing with technologies that were rendered irrelevant once COVID hit.
Yeah.
Say, okay, great. How can we now pivot this and make it relevant for the pains happening in the world now, whether it's logistics and supply chain, which is a major mess right now, whether it's education tech, collaboration, remote. I mean, we're not going back to offices. I know that most offices, we're going to start to see that completely shifting. I was working yesterday with a major VC, super exciting thing. I can't disclose right now, but they're raising a series of 250 million funds to address the biggest problems that we face as society, as humanity, as people. And it's incredible to see the investments being made in making our lives better. One of the things that's going to change is how we work.
Absolutely. I mean, we had the wonderful founder of Bolo Solutions on. She is working with corporations to help them hire women who are also moms, who are not willing to have that
The pandemic
challenge.
was tough on women, but on the other hand, it's given many women opportunities that we didn't have because
Right.
suddenly there's this flexibility. I've had this flexibility for years. I never took
Yeah.
maternity
You and
leave.
I didn't know that this was, but for so many folks having to be seen between a
Yeah,
period of time
absolutely.
and
I
not
mean,
measured by
I took my
results.
babies everywhere with me. I took them to speeches and to workshops, and I was changing diapers and nursing as I was coaching pitches, and on video, like up to here and down there, I had her on a little cushion. But that's just what we do as women, and women are incredible jugglers. And that is, I think, such an advantage to having women. And the whole idea of, oh, well, what if you have kids? Or, oh, well, what if you have to pick up your kid from school? Dads don't do it. Yeah, they do. I have an incredible husband who he drops off in the mornings because I start early mornings. And
Oh, Donna, you would love our last guest, Jessica Kim's story. She finally had it up to here with investors asking her about the babies. And they said, because now she's pregnant with her third and she's pitching. And they're like, oh my gosh. She goes, oh, not to worry. This is my sixth kid. I've got this. And they were like,
oh my, wow, 6. That's
and
like,
no. So then she goes, I was just kidding. It's really my third, but because it helped them adjust so quickly.
I've got 2 and I'm like, okay, that's about
No, but it helps you. I'm only kidding, but then let's get on to the mission.
A good icebreaker. See the shock on their faces. That must have been fun.
Anyway, so we're going back to, oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought. So you're going through the 4 acts.
Yes. So the 4 acts. So the first act is the problem, the need, or the opportunity.
Yeah.
The second act is your hero who's going to come to save the day. What is it? You need to be able to explain in one simple sentence, your simple solution statement. We do X for Y by Z. Okay. We're a technological platform that enables diabetic patients to manage, thrive, and live the lives they love. I mean, that's not exactly the line, but just something that anyone can understand. And then as fast as possible, you want to take them into a demo, which doesn't have to be a video. It can be just a journey, a user journey. You want to showcase your product through the story of one of your users, whether it's a real user or an imagined user. And what you can do is you can tell their story before when you're talking about the problem, which I call a deconstructed user story. So it's even more powerful because you're trying to tick a bunch of boxes with investors. You're trying to up your credibility level with them. So you show that you know what you're talking about and you really understand your audience. You're trying to up your likability level, which is showing flexibility of thought, coachability. If they ask you a question, not getting mad and getting snippety, but taking in their feedback, and momentum. How far have you gotten? How much traction do you have? Numbers, facts, figures, date. It's to show people are buying. You've got engagement. So those are the things you constantly want to be touching on. And then, so in the demo, by showing a user journey, you're showcasing your product and you're showing, oh, we have users that love us, and let them have testimonials. People love you. It's a huge social proof.
And then so that's the third act.
Is the business. All right, the numbers, your competitive landscape, your business model, your go-to-market, the market analysis, all that good stuff to show that there is a business case. But note that we waited till the third act for that. You can definitely, when you're talking about your problem, mention this is the $400 billion market that it will be by 2030. And so that they understand that this is a big market. But the business, first they need to buy into the need, the story, see what you're doing, and then see the numbers that kind of make it make sense.
Right.
And finally, act 4 is the aftermath. Where does our hero go from here? How is our hero going to go off and do even bigger things? That's where your big vision for the future comes in. So we've started here, but we intend to become the whatever it is.
Proof of scalability, everybody. Even if, you would be thrilled and everybody would be thrilled if you hit 10 million, 50 million, 500 million. Investors always have that little seed in their brain called unicorn.
Or yesterday I heard rhinoceros for the first time. So it's the companies that are, they may not achieve unicorn status, but they've got that hard shell that they are holding strong.
Nice.
And they're well on their way. So I like that better than cockroaches because
Yeah.
that's also a saying for a while.
No, I'm really into this rhinoceros. This is wonderful term because, but I love how you're doing. Now, where do you talk about the team, the people who are going to
Team
execute and
part of the business. So here's the thing with the team. People tend to want to start with the team. If it's going to add to your credibility, if you've got big names, serial entrepreneurs, people that have worked at big companies and held high level positions, absolutely put the team at the beginning, right before you start your story. If you're just a great group of scrappy entrepreneurs, this is your first try at it, you can wait till a little bit later on and do it in the business section right before you head into your fourth act. It's not that you're not going to introduce yourself and whoever's with you in the meeting. Of course, you're going to say, "Hi, I'm Donna. And this is Ande, my partner, who's this," but deeper diving. And then you want to highlight your team's assets, what they bring to the table, not their entire resume.
Right. Not just their titles, how they deliver. So wonderful. Hey, Claire, I love this. Claire is saying that the pandemic made me start my new project, and she shared it right here. Let's give a round of applause. Graceful.app, everybody. You glow, Claire. I want to know more about graceful.app. Anyway, that's so exciting. And Laura, yes, Laura loved the anthropology around storytelling. Donna, you are awesome. And Jeanette is saying so true about everything that you're putting out. And then excellent points as well from Laura. And of course, she would like the relief as well from the pitch. It's okay that you don't know. You know what to do with your business to create income and revenue and make customers happy. And you just need, you want to have some more oxygen in. And this pitching is so important. And now, what other last thoughts do you have to share? What about that closing slide? What do you want everybody to land on?
So
at the
let's
end
go
of their
back
pitch?
to, I said before you even do the first act, you have like an interlude, like the prelude, excuse me.
Yes.
So that's your vision statement. So Simon Sinek, who's wonderful, if you haven't watched speeches of his, I highly recommend it, everyone. So he says, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So it's about figuring out your big vision. So you might want to throw that out at the very beginning to kind of say, make them go, whoa, this is going to be big. Then you go back, you tell the whole story, but then at the end you reach for, but there's one more thing. We are doing really great what we're doing, but we intend to grow this bigger, more markets, more products, bigger vision. Maybe instead of it just being for diabetes, this can be something that will help manage all chronic diseases that need continuous maintenance and continuous management. Get them excited about something even bigger. And again, and I hear this a lot with women founders because we as women tend to be very factual and very precise, but I'm not there yet. You must paint a bigger picture. You must toot your own horn. Nobody's going to do it for you. I always ask when working with women founders that feel a little bit like, well, that's not modest. And can I say that? Would a Stanford grad, 24-year-old guy, dude, excuse me, walking into an investor meeting, owning the room, have any qualms about painting the big vision? And the answer is probably no. And we need to think that way. We really need to think that way.
Absolutely.
And as women, we also need to know our numbers inside and out because we will be scrutinized under a 10x bigger magnifying glass. It's just the way it is. I hope it changes. It's the way it is now. So don't get mad. Get ready.
Get ready. And, I like to always bring out Debbie Kleinman's book, everybody. First Pitch, because in it, she has this great chapter, chapter 7, confronting bias in the pitch process. And I'm sure you deal with that too, Donna, is, the challenge of the different questions that get asked women. It's just a fact of life, folks. Mm-hmm. And there's really wonderful techniques to bringing them back around. Right, Donna?
Absolutely. So again, you don't want to get mean and attacking unless it's been something completely offensive, and then I would calmly and with voice end the meeting if it's something completely. But sometimes investors, whether to men or to women, are asking pointedly challenging questions just to see how we respond. And you want to respond, man, woman, and everyone. and non-binary. And we just want to respond from the place of
Right.
collect. Don't get offended. They're not attacking your baby. They want to see how you respond in tough situations.
So now the pitch is done. What is that like call to action that has to happen at the end so you can get that coveted meeting? Because
Yes.
a lot of times it's like, any questions? Thank you. You know, what
So,
else?
so you want to kind of close it off nicely with the story, but and sort of tie a bow from the beginning vision to the end, how you're going to get there. But you also need an ask. How much are you looking for? What will be the main allocations? You don't have to write paper clips on it, but the main things like, product development and enhancement, team expansion, sales and marketing, community activation, wherever your things. But you also want to write a round objective. This will take us to 18 months and X million dollars in sales, X customers. They want to see where this money will take you, because investors, when they're writing a check now, they're also on the hook for your next round. If they don't join your next round, unless they're just seed investors and you're going to move into Series A, that's not a good signal for others. So they need to see that if they're putting money in now, this is something viable. Under promise, over deliver. Be realistic about what you can do with the money. There are hiccups along the way. Nobody expected COVID.
So I know. So when you're done, though, do you so just saying thank you, like you wait for the investor to say, oh, we'd love to get more information, or can I send you this? And
meeting, it's not usually like a pitch event. You're up, you're pitching,
right.
It's much more fluid. It's a great they're asking you questions and having a conversation, because that means they're interested. So don't get mad at the questions, just be ready. And also on my resources page, I've created a cheat sheet of like 100 plus of the questions you'll usually get from investors.
Nice.
Prepare for the questions just as much as you'd prepare for your pitch. Have answers to the tough questions. And if they ask you something that you don't know, it's okay to say, you know what, great question. Can I get back to you? But you can't defer every single question to do that. But usually there'll be something. So you want to find that action. You want to find a way. If they say, oh, I want to intro you to the partners. Oh, I have a great connection here. Or they want to start the due diligence process. If not, you follow up a few at the right after the meeting, a few hours later, thank them, mention something that you learned in the meeting, like something specific.
Yeah.
And then if you don't hear back, follow up like 4 days later, then another week later. I usually do 3 or 4 follow-ups until I like render them. Okay.
Thank you, Donna, for that, because it's the finale, the curtain's about to go down, and you want to leave everybody feeling good at the end of the 4th act. I love that. And hey, Abraham, how are you doing? Abraham's the founder of Pitch Gauge. What a story. We interviewed Abraham in September. Folks, go back and hear his story. It's amazing. And I love this comment that he grabbed. It doesn't have to be a demo. It can be a user journey. That is really helpful to him. Thank you so much, Abraham, for chiming in on that. And I want to bring up, one thing that you had me share here, which is this beautiful quote about the magical influence of storytelling. Would you please read that?
So Stuart Butterfield, who's the founder of a company named Slack, which y'all might have heard of, he was interviewed on Masters of Scale on the podcast. And he said, if there were one piece of advice I could give to my younger self, concentrate on the storytelling, on convincing people. If you can't do that, it doesn't matter how good the product is. And this is from someone who built a phenomenal product that's at the basis of so many companies and people using it. But you can have the best product in the world. If you don't know how to convey it simply, powerfully, and get people excited about it, it's just going to be another product on a shelf.
Oh my gosh. And folks, here's, Donna's slide right here. She's here for you, everybody. So reach out to Donna. You've seen the lower third going by, the ticker tape going by with all our contact info. Here it is here. And we know what the group is that we want to join, the female founders group. But this is where you can reach Donna, which is Donna at donnagriffit.com. And her website is donnagriffit.com. And find her on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. I'm going to have, and Medium. Oh my gosh, that's great. And grab those resources and get a meeting set up with Donna. I think we were talking about, if you mentioned Ande Lyons or you saw her here, she'll give you a little bit off the price, which is great, a little discount, which would be wonderful for.
Mention Andy's podcast and you will get the VIP. Yes.
Excellent. This is so wonderful. So I just have, two last questions, because, you've been in this founder journey. Entrepreneurship has been how you've been living and going. And I know there have been times when you have felt your founder doubt, like in 2008, and then again with the pandemic. How did you shift? And you gave us some great advice about, bringing value to the table and how you will always have work. But how did you shift your mindset during these tough times?
Storytelling. Again, you know what? I realized it very strongly in March 2020 that we are the masters of our story. We are the authors of our story. Now, sometimes people will, I like a lot of people have moved from Silicon Valley to Texas now. There's been a big exodus. And I know that, I can't see myself living in Texas, even though my mom and my family are originally from there. But I know that people will tell themselves the story that they have made the right choice, that they love it, and they're super happy. So we have the opportunity to create our own narrative. And it's very important to not take in negativity. There was so much negativity. There's so much craziness going on now with conspiracy theories and things. Take the limit to what you take in, and you choose how to tell your story. The whole first year of the pandemic, and when we were all locked down, I created a hashtag, spread hope, not viruses. And I was like putting all these optimistic things. And yes, there's going to be a vaccine. And yes, we're going to get out of this. And if I'd known that it would have taken this long, I don't know if I would.
I know.
But optimism
Get the jab
is my fuel.
Yeah. I love that advice. And I'm telling you right now, we're going to stitch that on a pillow, everybody. We are the masters of our story. That's it. Simple. And so, when you're having those moments, you have to reframe them and put them into the proper perspective. I love that. Something fierce, Donna. Two more things. Yeah, love the VIP. Thank you, Laura. And Laura's also saying thank you, Ande, for VIP access. Yeah, love that too, for sure. Thank you, Donna, for that. We had the slide up where everybody can, reach you, find you, hire you. Folks, do not let your business down. Do not let the opportunities down by thinking you can do this alone. This is like any high risk, high wire act. You don't want to do it home alone. You want to get the pro in to help you. And look how easy Donna is to work with. She'll take you and your story and pull it together. And that will take one thing off your plate, because it's hard enough to spend all the time you need to spend raising funds, and raising capital with no evidence of a positive outcome. Why not know that you feel great about your story, great about your pitch, whether it's 90 seconds, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, that you can fill the time and you're doing it properly in a way that investors can sit back and enjoy your 4 acts, because they know that you're going to deliver. And then it shows them that they can have confidence in you. Okay, your ability to nail that pitch deck, right, Donna, gives them a lot of confidence in your ability as a founder.
Absolutely.
I love that. Thank you so much for joining me on the Startup Life Live Show. You've been amazing.
Thank you.
It was such a good conversation. I'm going to pop you to the green room, wrap the show up, and give you a virtual hug as soon as I hit end broadcast. Thank you, Donna, for adding value to founders' lives everywhere you glow. You are extraordinary.
Thanks for having me. You're lovely. And it was just great energy all the way from Boston to California.
Donna's in Silicon Valley, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. So you're in the heart of the pitch world. All right, everyone. We had the best time, right? Learning about how to tell the stories and how to bring more of what investors want to hear. I am deeply grateful to Donna for helping us remember so many. I have so many gems written down here from the storytelling, her automagic, as well as we are the masters of our own story. So I know you grabbed a lot of gems from our conversation, and we'll continue. And please connect with Donna everywhere she glows. So coming up next Friday, that's right, it's Fab Female Friday here in the Startup Life Live Show. And it's Friday, October 22nd at 12 p.m. ET, 9 a.m. PT, and we're going to continue the investor pitch conversation with Latina serial entrepreneur, investor, and venture capitalist Renata Marino. She's been on both sides of the table, and she's ready to help you navigate the investor question process with her outstanding advice. But also, you are going to love hearing how she got to where she is today, because she does not hold back. She takes us through the whole journey. I know you'll love it. And how do you know where to go for the next show? You join the Startup Life Live meetup group. I'll have the links in the show notes, or if you're watching the screen here, you can scan that QR code and join us there. Would love to have you and see you in there. In the meantime, let me just share my last little bit of words of wisdom that I love to end the show with, and that is, please always remember that you are braver than you believe and stronger than you seem. And oh yeah, wicked smarter than you think, as we say here in Boston. You really are the master of your own story, and you've got this. And I am cheering you on wildly and wishing you a delicious day wherever you are. Stay in touch. Let me know how you're doing, okay? Blowing you kisses filled with appreciation from Boston. Mwah.